go down here real quick. So we're going to go to Section 2, Approval of Agenda. Item 2.1, Changes to Agenda and Approval of Agenda. And we do have some changes to the consent agenda. Deleted item number 8.18, Exempted Purchase over $25,000 IXL. Item 8.19 was corrected from exempted purchase over $25,000 Playmore Recreational Products and Services to tag-on bid purchase over $25,000 Playmore Recreational Products and Services. Added item 8.47, Memorandum of Understanding between Okaloosa County School Board and Okaloosa Education Staff Professionals for a $500 sign-in bonus for newly hired bus drivers. And then added item 8.48, Exempted Purchase over $25,000 IXL for software site licenses for the Title I Department. With those changes, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries 5-0. So we have no recognitions, and we do have visitors tonight. So Section 4.1, Bernadette Sims and Ann Johnston on behalf of Okaloosa Public Arts, donation in the amount of $2,000 to each high school art department. Mr. Chambers?
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, School Board. And at this time, I'd like Ms. Johnson to come forward. And I'd like to say, as she's coming forward, Ms. Johnson is a product, in essence, of the Okaloosa County School District, serving our students, serving teachers for many years. So she is a friend to the school board and a friend to all of Okaloosa County. And what is beautiful is she understands the importance of the arts, specifically art, and they have been a staunch supporter of our high schools, and it's something that we're very grateful for. So I turn it over to you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We did this last year, and I think it was appreciated by the schools. So we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to recognize the 6 high schools with a check of $2,000 each. Now, Bernadette has the checks, and I don't know if she's come in yet or not. So she's really the important part of this little duo here. But I'm happy to get to speak to you. And we want to say thank you for letting Okaloosa Public Arts, our little organization, come forward and be a part of the high school's art programs, because that is really important to us. And I think it's important to the students. The creativity that is developed in art carries over to other parts of their lives. And we believe that creativity, as I said, and individuality go hand in hand with the rest of, like I said, of the curriculum, especially our innovative subjects that we are all very involved in related to technology and music and things that go along with art ideas. Did Bernadette come in? There you are. Come on up, Bernadette. I told them you have the money.
Yes, you got a big satchel.
So I've already confessed that. But I do want to just conclude real quickly by saying that we believe that art fosters these principles that we're talking about, this creativity and the ability to handle other subjects well. I especially want to thank Jan Crawford and Amber Floyd for helping us with getting the program together, getting on the agenda tonight, let me put it that way. So, but we've been emailing each other and they've been very helpful, and I want to say thank you to them. So Bernadette Sims,
I was
as you...
standing out in that room out there and I saw you come on. I said, well, I think I'm supposed to be
That's
in
your
there.
cue, yeah. You are, and we weren't going to let you get away because we knew you had the money, so, yeah.
Now that means you get to speak for 5 minutes now. So.
Yeah.
I don't think I said that much.
Come right here. Yeah. We're on the agenda right
Okay,
here.
you through?
Yep. All right, I am.
Okay. Well, as I guess she said, I'm Bernadette Sims, and in case, I don't know whether she told you a little bit about my background, but I was the founder of the Northwest Florida Ballet Company
I was
50 years
about
ago. Oh, okay. 50 years ago, and as you know, we've joined hands with the school board for a program down in downtown Fort Walton Beach where we have ballet, art, all of the arts, and we're most appreciative of the support of the school board for that. I've been involved in Okaloosa Public Arts since I sort of stepped back from the ballet company, and Todd Allen has taken over, and he's doing a wonderful job with that. If you haven't been down there to visit, you probably would love to go down there and see how that program is working. And so that's all I'm going to say about the Northwest Florida Ballet. But Okaloosa Public Arts is dear to my heart also. As you know, I think we all come here with a gift of some kind. I don't know whether someone who is gifted in math or computer sciences, they just have a knack for those things. Some people have a knack for architecture, some people for dance, some people for art. And we are so glad that Okaloosa County has art in the public school systems, because I think Ann must have said something about that, because we do think that art has a lot to do with people succeeding in life. Not that they're going to be a professional artist, maybe not a Van Gogh, or maybe there will be a Van Gogh that we train here in Okaloosa County. But we're just proud of all the young artists that are here, and we're so happy that you're helping to develop them. And last year I came with a giant check, but this year I just came with 6 individual checks. I don't know if any of the principals are here or
I
any
think
of the
we have
art
quite a few of them that
They
are
are.
here.
Right.
They're raising their hand.
And if our high school principals would come forward really quickly, and Ms. Sims, before you do this presentation, I'm going to ask Mr. Spolsky, on behalf of our high school principals, just to say a couple words of appreciation for what this means to the arts programs.
All right, good.
School board members, good to see you. Ms. Bernadette, Ms. Ann, good to see you. I appreciate you being here, supporting our programs. When we go to the county art shows and we have our school art shows, it's absolutely amazing, the products that our young people put out. And I've had an opportunity to work with Crestviews art teacher, and of course, Ms. Moran at Fort Walton Beach High School, Ms. Sally Reagan at Choctaw, and Laurel Hill and at Mike's and Lee's schools up there in the north end of the county. Absolutely phenomenal work. And I know over there at Niceville, under Charlie's leadership, they have a great program as well. So we just enjoy watching young people prosper in these. And if it wasn't for your support, your financial support to help us with some of those consumables, we just thank you for what you do for us in the community.
Proud to do it.
Yes, ma'am. And we are very appreciative. Thank you.
So I have $2,000 for each school.
Oh, that's awesome.
Buy
That's awesome.
supplies, because it's very hard to get money together for supplies, and they do all kind of fundraisers to try to get some supplies.
Well, I've signaled our photographer, so she's going to take over from here, Debbie, so if you want to.
So let's see.
And Mr. Bryant, do you want to join me?
Sure.
$1,000. Well, I'll be trying to get 2 rows.
Crestviews right here, ma'am. He's a little guy.
Yeah, you had your meeting this morning, right? 2 meetings this morning.
Thank you so much. Laurelville School? Baker High School. And then Mr. Spolsky, can you go that way? And thank you for being a great superintendent.
Did he get a check, ma'am?
Are you an artist?
Here we go. Everybody look this way. I'm keep smiling. I'm gonna take a couple. Thank you.
Well, thank you to all of you. I appreciate all that you do.
I talked to Kim today, and she said that she couldn't be here.
Did you go to school with my daughter, Amber Clements?
Yes, I did.
Well, good to see you. I thought I recognized you.
Yes, thank you.
She's moved back.
Oh, terrific. Good. We're glad to have her.
She's working at Friday.
Oh, good. That's good. Even better.
All right. So as everybody is leaving, we will now move to Section 5, Administrative Personnel Appointments. And we have a busy night again for appointments, and we'll start with 5.1, Appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month, Davidson Middle School. Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, the school board. I bring before you Mr. Michael David Carnley. He goes by David. David Carnley is a 1987 graduate of Paxton High School. He obtained his bachelor's degree in 1992 and his master's degree in educational leadership in 2002, both from the University of West Florida. Mr. Carnley began his teaching career in 1992 at Crestview High School, where he taught science and coached both baseball and basketball. He then transferred to Davidson Middle School in 1997, serving as a science teacher and coach. Mr. Carnley has worked in various capacities at Davidson, including teaching PE, operating as the Dean of Students, and continuing with his love of coaching several sports. Mr. Carnley is married to Lorna Carnley, the principal of Walker Elementary, and they have 3 children and 2 son-in-laws, all of whom are graduates of the Okaloosa County School District, and his family has deep ties in education. Mr. Carnley looks forward to the opportunity afforded to him in his new role as the assistant principal at Davidson Middle School and is eager to use his skill set with aspirations to make Davidson the best school it can be. Mr. Carnley, and Mr. Carnley is not here. I believe he's in Wyoming.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook this morning they were in the airport getting ready to go. So with that, I'll need a motion to accept the appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month, David Carnley, Davidson Middle School, as recommended by the superintendent. Do I have a motion for that?
Also move.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Vancheck. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries 5-0. Congratulations to Mr. Carnley. All right, now we'll move to Section 5.2, Appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month, Shoal River Middle School. And Mr. Chambers, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, School Board. I bring before you Ms. Susan Gearing. Susan Gearing is a proud product of the Okaloosa County School District, having attended Baker School and graduating from Crestview High School. After volunteering for many years at a summer camp for children with special needs, she was determined to make a significant difference in the lives of children and decided to major in education. She graduated from the University of West Florida, where her undergraduate degree in teaching special education, grades K through 12, was obtained. She obtained her teaching position at Antioch Elementary, where she taught a variety of grade levels and held a multitude of responsibilities over 13 years. In 2016, she was honored to be selected by her peers as Antioch's Teacher of the Year. Ms. Gearing earned her Educational Leadership Master's degree from the University of West Florida. She's been thankful for the opportunity to serve as Blue Water Elementary School's assistant principal for the past 6 years. While there, she earned the title of Elementary Assistant Principal of the Year in 2021. Ms. Gearing's daughter, Paige, Colleen, and Riley are privileged to be students in the Okaloosa County school system, while her husband, Chet, is a teacher at Ruckle Middle School. She comes from a family of educators, as her parents Chuck and Ann Sprague, and her grandparents all served in the system in various capacities. Ms. Gearing is excited to have the opportunity to serve the students, faculty, and staff and families at Shoal River Middle School with positivity, enthusiasm, and gratitude. Ms. Gearing.
And with that, I'll need a motion to appoint the appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month, Susan Gearing, to Shoal River Middle School as recommended by the superintendent for approval. And I'm going to pass the gavel to my vice chair, and I will be happy to make that motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll
Oh,
second.
I'm sorry. Dr. Kelly.
All right.
Say, now you say it's second.
Okay, I'll second.
And Ms.
I'll
Gardner.
second.
All those in favor?
All those in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
It passes unanimously.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Congratulations, Ms. Gearing.
Good evening. Thank you so much to the board for this great opportunity to expand my skill set and serve Shoal River Middle School. Thank you to Mr. Miller and Dr. Seals for their awesome welcoming They've been great so far, and we're going to have a great relationship, and I know that I'm going to learn so much from them. Thank you to Miss Clue, who has been my sidekick for the last 6 years. It's going to be tough leaving her in Blue Water. I've learned so much, but I am really, really excited for the new opportunity. Thank you to my family, who have always been supporting me through whatever crazy ideas I have. I just can't wait to get started and see what new adventures I can go on. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
See, Mr. Miller has a package.
Everybody this way, 2 steps. 4, 5. Dad, you be in the back on this side, over on this side, baby. Perfect. There we go. Count 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. One more.
You know, while they're dispersing, may I say just a quick word? It is so good to see Susan Gehring's parents there. Coach Sprague actually was one of our coaches and baseball sponsor when I was a student at Laurel Hill, and it's so good to see you again, Coach. Thanks for being there. I love your wife, too. She's awesome as well.
All right.
Have to date him as myself, too, I guess.
All right, so as they're exiting, we'll go ahead and move down to section 5.3, appointment of assistant principal 2, 10-month Silver Sand School. Mr. Chambers?
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. School Board, bring before you Ms. Pam Teza. Ms. Teza is a proud native Floridian who began her teaching career at Meigs Middle School. While there, she taught math, language arts, and arts appreciation to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and led a multitude of extracurricular activities, including the state award-winning WWIN television crew. Ms. Teza served as an assistant principal at Destin Middle School and Wright Elementary School, as well as the Dean of Students at Richburg. Ms. Teza is a trauma-informed care trainer who has trained educators across the district and even presented at the East Coast Technology Assistance Center Convention. As a lifelong learner, Ms. Teza earned her Associates of Arts degree from Northwest Florida State College, her Bachelor of Arts degree in Educational Studies from the University of West Florida, and her Master's degree in Educational Leadership from Concordia University. Ms. Teza holds certifications in Educational Leadership, Middle Grades Integrated Curriculum, and ESOL endorsement. Ms. Teza is married to Mark Teza, who is also an educator at and proud alumni of Choctawhatchee High School. They have been happily married for 30 years and parents of the Fantastic Four and Choctaw alumni, Tyler, Olivia, Mariah, and Bethany. Mrs. Teza has a passion for supporting student education and is excited to work alongside Ms. Wheat and all the superior seahorses at Silver Sands School. Ms. Teza.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chambers. And with that, I need a motion to approve the appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month, Ms. Pam Teza, to Silver Sands School as recommended by the superintendent for approval. Do I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make that recommendation.
Okay, Ms. Gardner makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. White. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Ms. Teza.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Chambers and board members. I am humbled by your recommendation, Mr. Chambers, and I am grateful for your confidence in me as a leader, and I appreciate your continued support. I would like to take the opportunity to thank each and every board member for your vote of confidence in me tonight. Each of you have been a very positive influence in my professional life. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank Ms. Lightbourne, Dr. Hale, and Mr. Palmer for being supportive mentors. I'd like to offer my appreciation to Mrs. Wheat, to Mrs. Lamb, to Mrs. Ard, and to Mrs. Amy Anderson for their support of my thinking outside of the box and my professional goals. Robert Frost once wrote in the poem, The Road Less Traveled, that two roads diverged in the wood, and I chose the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. I'm one of the blessed ones because I chose the road less traveled. As many of you know, I finished my undergraduate and my graduate degrees as a busy daughter, wife, and mother of 4 very active children in the Okaloosa County School District, and I don't regret 1 mile. Most of all, I thank the good Lord for the blessing of my very supportive husband, Mark, and my children, Tyler, Emma, Olivia, Patrick, Mariah, and Bethany, who have cheered me on along the way by reminding me to just keep studying and just keep striving to reach my goals and to never give up. I'd like to thank my mom and dad. They're no longer with me, but they taught me to treat others the way that I would want to be treated, and they also instilled in me the tenacity to never give up reaching for my goals no matter what adversity that I face. And finally, I'd like to thank the AP cohort. We text, we email, we call, we support, and we are going on 8 years together now supporting each other. And I am appreciative of every single one of them. Mr. Chambers, thank you for being such a supportive mentor to me all of these years. I am so excited for this opportunity to serve with Ms. Wheat, and I look forward to helping her fulfill her incredible vision for our amazing students at Silver Sands. I am ready for this adventure. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'd just like to say that I've known the Teza family for a long, long time, worked with Mark at Choctaw for many, many years. I taught all the Fantastic Four and loved it, had the honor of doing that. And Pam, I'm very proud of you and I'm very excited to see you take on this new opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, so now we'll move to section 5.4, and this will be the appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month Pryor Middle School. Mr. Chambers?
Mr. Bryant, School Board, I bring before you Miss Melissa Youngma. Melissa Youngma was born in Windham, Minnesota, to Marvin and Mariah Youngma. After high school graduation, Ms. Youngma attended Northern State University in Aberdeen, South Dakota, receiving a Bachelor of Science degree in elementary and special education. Her first full-time teaching job was at Dakota House in Aberdeen and then South Dakota Developmental Center in Redfield, South Dakota, which were both resident facilities. She moved to Rapid City and taught physical education for 14 years at Ellsworth Air Force Base, as well as serving as the head coach for high school girls basketball and middle school volleyball. During this time, she obtained her master's degree in educational administration from South Dakota State University. Ms. Youngma moved to Okaloosa County in 2015, where she has worked at Wright Elementary as a PE assistant and Shoal River Middle School as an EBD teacher. She then worked at Bruner Middle School and developed the Alternative Placement Program. Ms. Youngma currently works at Pryor Middle as a resource teacher, where she previously worked as an EBD teacher. Ms. Melissa Youngma.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. And with that, I need a motion to approve the appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month, Pryor Middle School, Melissa Youngma, as recommended by the superintendent for approval. I need a motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries 5-0. Congratulations.
First off, I would like to thank you for this amazing opportunity. Secondly, I'd like to thank Mr. Chambers, Dr. Hale, Ms. Gates, and Ms. Barron for their support and guidance throughout my journey. Lastly, I'd like to thank Laura Diggs for her constant support in all the ups and downs the last few years have been. My philosophy in life is if it's worth doing 100%, and that's my full intention at my new position. I am overwhelmed with joy to be a part of the Pryor admin team. Thank you.
Right. Congratulations. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
So now we'll move to our next appointment, item 5.5, appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month, Plough Elementary School, as recommended by the superintendent for approval. Mr. Chambers, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brighton School Board. I bring before you Ms. Heather Phillips. Ms. Heather Phillips grew up hearing stories about her father's time living overseas while serving in the Navy. When she began college, her mother helped guide her into the field of education, which was the perfect occupation to combine her love of teaching and travel. Before graduating from the University of Alabama, Heather received a scholarship to student teach in Kobe, Japan. While in Japan, Ms. Phillips received a scholarship to student teach. While in Japan, Heather pursued and was offered a kindergarten position at the International Christian School of Hong Kong. After teaching overseas for 6 years, she moved back to Alabama, where she taught middle school math and science while coaching the cheerleading team. In 2005, Heather married her high school sweetheart, Blair Phillips. Shortly afterwards, she was hired at Blue Water Elementary, where she taught several grade levels and was named Blue Water Teacher of the Year in 2019. She went on to represent Okaloosa County as the district's Teacher of the Year as well. After completing her master's degree in educational leadership in 2019, Heather pursued opportunities to prepare her for transitioning into administration, including leading breakout sessions for the new teacher induction program, joining the Level 2 leadership program, and observing principals in our county to gain experience and insight. After 18 years as an educator, Heather is excited to be named Plough Elementary's assistant principal under the leadership of Tammy Matz. She's thankful for the support of her husband, children, the Blue Water family, her new faculty and staff at Plough, and all of the many people that helped her grow along the way. Ms. Heather Phillips.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chambers. And with that, item 5.5, I need a motion to approve the appointment of Assistant Principal 2, 10-month, Heather Phillips, Plough Elementary School, as recommended by the superintendent for approval. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries 5-0. Now, Ms. Phillips, you can come on up.
Sorry, I'm first timer here.
You did good.
Every one of you played a important role in my journey this far to become an administrator, so I want to thank all of you personally. I appreciate your support, guidance, and trust in me. When I was deciding whether or not I was ready to become an administrator, it gave me a lot of confidence knowing that from the top down that we have such strong, amazing leadership, so I knew that I was in good hands. I needed, it was a family decision for me, so I want to thank my family. I'm grateful for their love and encouragement. The advice I received from my mentor, Mrs. Clue, and the other administrators in the county was invaluable. So many people poured into me and really paid it forward. I'm also forever grateful to my Blue Water friends and colleagues, which are just a hop down the road, so that's great. During this process, my goal was to find where God wanted me to lead. There's no doubt that Plough Elementary is where I belong. I feel honored to join their legacy of success. Thank you for your vote of confidence, Mrs. Matz, school board members, and Mr. Chambers. Thank you.
All right.
And a quick side note, you talk about dedication and commitment. So Ms. Phillips was in the Cayman Islands and left 2 days early to come do this interview. So that's commitment right there.
That's commitment.
We stayed. My family.
We stayed.
Family stay.
All right. So as everybody's exiting, we'll move on down to item 5.6. And this will be for the appointment of deputy superintendent as recommended by the superintendent for approval. Mr. Chambers?
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, School Board. I bring before you Mr. Steve Horton. Steve Horton's career in the school district spans 32 years, beginning as a math teacher at Meigs Middle School and then at Fort Walton Beach High School, where he also served as the Dean of Students. After a brief period as an administrator at Niceville High School, Mr. Horton joined the school district staff under the then Superintendent Don Gates and served as the Director for Student Services as well as the Assistant Superintendent for Quality Assurance and Curriculum. In 2005, Mr. Horton chose to return to the classroom, where and took the teaching position at Niceville High School, eventually becoming the AP Calculus teacher. In the spring of 2013, Mr. Horton returned to the district and has served in a number of roles, the most recent being the Assistant Superintendent of Operational Services. Mr. Horton earned a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration, Finance from the University of Florida, and a master's degree in Educational Leadership from the University of West Florida. Mr. Horton's wife, Gerald, is an assistant principal at Niceville High School, and they have two sons, Shane and Brooks. All four are proud graduates of the Okaloosa County Schools. And the only thing that I can say that's not the greatest quality of Mr. Horton is that he's a proud Florida Gator, not a Florida State Seminole, but that's okay.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes, sir.
With your permission, sir, I'd like to make the motion for Mr. Horton as a former teacher.
And I appreciate that, Dr. White. And the motion's on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Horton. 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. I'm very proud to be up here this evening, and I want to thank each of you board members for this vote of confidence in Mr. Chambers. We've known each other for a number of years, and I can say that at my core, I know that this group of individuals up here is committed above any other boards in the state for the excellence of public education in Okaloosa County. So I'm very proud of the relationships that we have and that we formed over the years, because it takes a shared vision of excellence to have strong relationships. And so I'm very grateful for that. I'm proud also that my family, and most of my family's here tonight, my wife, my son Brooks, my sister Bethany, my sister-in-law Dude, who was a former Okaloosa Teacher of the Year. My son Shane is in Gainesville right now, and I'm probably one of very few, but the thing I'm most proud of is that my entire family and my sons and my wife were all graduates of Okaloosa County. We all have actually taught in Okaloosa County as well, so there are probably not too many families that have done that. I'm excited to be here. I believe that people are given the opportunity to lead by those who they work with, not people from above, but those who they work with. And so I'm blessed to have a great group of individuals that I work with every day who are driven to the success of this county and this school district. And I can't do the things that I do without everyone's help, and it is truly a team. And I'm just amazed. In 32 years, seems like a long time, but I feel renewed, and I know the district is headed to even greater things in the months and years to come. And when you look at Mr. Carnley and Ms. Gearing and Ms. Teza and Ms. Phillips and Ms. Youngma and those other folks who might be a little bit younger than me, I'm proud to stand near them and next to them as they're kind of working on their administrative careers. So I'm very proud to be here, and thank you very much.
So, Mr. Chambers, if I can, real quick, I would just like to say to Mr. Horton how much we appreciate all that you've done over the last 2 years. What folks don't realize is that he took on a lot of extra duties when Mr. Chambers was appointed superintendent. And I will just tell you that as a board member, I know that I could reach out to Mr. Horton at any time. He would answer his phone, and he would help me with my questions or anything that might be on my mind. But I will just tell you that Mr. Horton went way above and beyond what was asked of him, and we appreciate everything that you do. And for those that might be watching and that voice sounds familiar, he is the one that makes all the calls for the district. So there's his face.
That's it.
But thank you, Mr. Horton.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Horton,
Yes, Bob.
there you go.
And I'm going to say, Mr. Horton wears many, many hats very well. Excellent job.
I was just going to say a little funny. I know you've got that comeback ready, right? So Mr. Horton is very rarely speechless, but the other day when he called to go over his agenda items, he said, "I've got some things to talk to you about." And I said, "Oh, you want to talk about that deputy superintendent we have on there?" And he was speechless for just a second.
Dead air at that point.
But he recovered well, so appreciate that.
I'm going to have to do a selfie.
And while everyone's gathering, I see Dennis Samak and his wife Annie Samak that just retired, and wondering if you are wanting to come back for a job. We already miss you.
Right. Well, I can tell you that the last few board meetings, this has been awesome to see all of our up-and-coming leaders that are going to take Okaloosa County into the next generation. So
Yes, sir.
congratulations so far to everybody that's been appointed. I know we got a few more on the next one. So.
Yes, sir.
All right, so now we're to section 6, and this is public comment. And 6.1 is members of the public desiring to address the school board, Forum MIS 5241, public input and/or discussion of agenda items. And Mr. McInnes, we do have 2 blue cards tonight, so please, sir, if you would please go over the rules for public comment.
You'll have 4 minutes to make your presentation. I'll keep the time, and I'll give you a 15-second warning before the time has expired.
Okay. So with that, our first blue card will be Miss Karen Clark. Ms. Clark, if you would please come to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record. And as Mr. McInnes said, as you start, you'll have 4 minutes.
Karen Clark, 425 Valley Way, Niceville, Florida. First of all, just seeing all this tonight, it's such a blessing, all of you. I'm so thankful for God that we're here. It's just wonderful. And I did, my husband, late last night, sent all of you the agenda that we're talking about, which is the federal law requiring schools. But I hear from Miss Dr. Kelly that it's already being taught, and from Principal Anderson too. And what a blessing. I mean, it is just wonderful. So I just want to thank you, all of you, for your service to our children and to our families here in this community, and really for a spirit of excellence. I mean, it was just heartwarming seeing all of this. But I also want to make sure that this is taught, continues to be taught, since it is a federal law, and which you received all of this, that during September, the week of Constitution, from September 17th through to the 23rd, that is taught to all the grades, all the way up through 12, for that whole week. And I'm going to go ahead and read this, which you have it right in front of you. It says, since you already are teaching it, I don't have to go into much more on that. So, as George Washington said, the primary object should be the education of our youth in the science of government. In a republic, what other knowledge can be equally important, and what duty more pressing than communicating it to those who are to be our future guardians of the liberties of this country. And I'm just so thankful again for all of you, what you are doing. And I just want to say another thing too, which Ms. Kelly knows already, but we do pray for you and your families every single week, and every single morning. So you're all on the agenda, your whole families, and keep up the good work and make sure we stay a free nation. This is what this is all about. No other nation is like this nation. So thank you for the responsibility that you take on for being the leaders and keeping everything right for our children and families. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to thank Ms. Clark, because from the moment I met her about 3 years ago, I think that was it, Karen, she has been nothing but diligent about supporting the school board and the superintendent. And you are much appreciated for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. And now we have Ms. Diana Gilbert. Ms. Gilbert, if you would please make your way to the podium. And again, you have 4 minutes. Please state your name and your address for the record. And we are glad to see you tonight.
Glad to see you too. Diana Gilbert, 2054 Kildare Circle, Niceville, Florida. And I just came to also state my strong support for this federal law that requires our schools and government agencies to teach the U.S. Constitution. And I know you all know the importance of our students knowing the limitation of powers, states' rights, the Electoral College, the reasons behind the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, religious freedom, all this that they need to know. And we have a lot of students that don't know this. So I would also like to recommend that you look at resources for teachers from the National Center for Constitutional Studies, which is from the email that Karen Clark sent to you. They have a video that's called A More Perfect Union that is very highly rated, a teaching guide for all age levels, a Constitution poster, and a Constitution. They have this in an educational packet. And I'm really more comfortable with people that I know for sure support the Constitution the way our founders intended to it. So I would encourage you to look at this. And they do bundle it. So the more you buy, the less it costs. So if you could look at that. And I would just like to close with a quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "Let the Constitution be taught in schools, in seminaries, and in colleges. Let it be written in primers, in spelling books, and almanacs. And let it be preached from the pulpit and proclaimed in legislative halls and enforced in courts of justice. And in short, let it become the political religion of the nation." So I just emphasize again the importance of our Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Hill.
I'm going to give this to you. This is just the video to look at and that, but you can go online and get more
If you
information.
would, just hand it
Right here.
to Mary there for us, please, and
Right.
she'll make sure we get it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Gilbert.
Diane.
Thank you.
It's good to
And
see
Mr.
Ed
Bryant.
back there, too.
So, Mr. Chambers?
Thank you. And Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert and Mr. and Mrs. Clark, I just want to thank you for coming forward today and for your support and bringing even more attention to this cause. I think you will see, or I know you'll see, in September, you'll see a number of activities that will be occurring throughout the school district, and you will also see a strong social media push highlighting what we'll be doing throughout the week. But I'd also like to say, we also in Okaloosa have a very strong presence and push in civics education, so we will continue doing those things and more. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. All right, so now we'll move down the line here. So Section 7 was for the workshop only, so now we're to Section 8, Consent Agenda. 8.1 is the approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Evanchek. Any discussion? Hear none. Those voting in approval of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? And the motion carries 5-0. So now we'll move down to Section 9, and this will be Human Resource. We've got a lot. So 9.1 and 9.2 are informational only. So 9.3 is cleared certification requirements and issuance of contracts for the 2021 through 2022 school year. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Ms. Vanchek makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Garner. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. 9.4, employment separations. I need a motion to approve.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Dr. Kelly makes a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, motion carries 5-0. 9.5, personnel recommendations. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Garner makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Dr. White. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. 9.6, employee transfers. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Dr. White, or Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second, Dr. White. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. 9.7, reinstatement, reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, medical examination. I need a motion to approve.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and the motion carries 5-0. 9.8, leave without pay, presented by Dr. Hale. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. And there was nothing moved from discussion no items moved from the consent agenda. So now we're to Section 11 and program status report by Dr. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll pass out some information to my colleagues here. We had quite a lively discussion this morning in our agenda meeting, our construction meeting. So just to refresh your memory, you'll see that there is no task order number 1 on here. As we said previously, those items that are completed and out of warranty with no issue fall off the list. So task order 1 was Niceville High School's roof. That project is completed and netted us some shared cost savings. So we'll start with task order 2. That was our big task order, remember, in 3 various phases. Phase 1 has been complete. Phase 2 is substantially complete. All of those that we waited until summer to start are now in Phase 3. Phase 2 is mechanically and electrically in great shape. We're only waiting on flooring in some cases, but have no fear, those will be in and installed in time for open houses. And there's still just a few fences and sidewalks underway. Those are delayed, obviously, due to weather. And Phase 3, we should be receiving a GMP on the next board agenda. Okay, so that brings us to Task Order 3, which was Florosa, and that is finished with, again, a shared cost savings. Task Order 4 was Baker School's kitchen renovation, and we had a new request in that task order regarding a tilt sink faucet, and that otherwise is done, again, with a shared cost savings. Task Order 5 was Joe Etheridge Stadium at Choctaw, and that is only waiting on the final sign-off from the engineer that we should receive that shortly. Task Order 6 was Pryor Middle School's kitchen renovation. That design is completed, and we're only working on internal funding plans so that they're working, hopefully, on her dining room at the same time that they're working on this as well. Task Order 7, Longwood Elementary School's corridor, that has had no issues, and that is completed. Task Order 8 is Kenwood School's kitchen and dining room roof replacement. That is complete with no issues, but it's not yet out of the warranty period, so we don't know yet if there is a cost savings to be shown. Task Order 9 was repairs to Jack Foster Stadium at Crestview. The engineers and Jacobs have met now with the new principal on the plans, and they are making some decisions about removal of the top rows, but none of that will impede the football schedule or football practice. That's always so important. Task Order 10 was for the emergency repair on the Bay Area office. That is done, and the insurance adjuster has finally resolved that claim. Interestingly to note, that GMP was for $85,000, and we spent $30,000, so that will give us $50,000 back to the district, so that can be redistributed for other projects. Task Order 11 is the district-wide sales tax roofing project. Those are underway. And Task Order 12 is the district-wide tax sales construction projects. Those are the multipurpose rooms, the additions, etc., and that is in the design phase. Likely, we should see our GMP there to come to us in January for that one. So if you turn over to the last page, Task Order 13 is the time and materials for the master plan and consolidation of district services here. Their next step will be to schedule interviews with the occupants of that new renovated project, and we should anticipate between 140 and 150 occupants there, so I'm very excited about that project. Task Order 14 is Fort Walton Beach High School Boys Fieldhouse Roof Project. That has now evolved into a roofing and HVAC system. They currently have 4 AC units on that roof, and they're trying to combine those in 2. And as I understand it, that will make the roof more legitimate, more viable, because you have 2 heavy objects sitting up there instead of 4. So that completes our task orders. Under the additional projects, the Citizens Oversight Committee will meet again the end of August. We don't have that exact date yet, and we are working on the final touches on the website before that goes live. And just a last note, the next meeting, we should probably expect our first quarterly report from Ms. Ankers, as was anticipated in our sales tax revenue campaign. So that's all I have tonight.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. We always appreciate that report. It's always a lot of information for us to look at there.
Lots of information, exciting information.
Yes. So we do have an action item, 11.2, authorization for professional services agreement from Faithful and Gould for price validation for program number 6, task order number 12, district-wide sales tax construction projects. I need a motion to approve.
Mr. Bryan, I'd like to make that motion, and assuming that there might be a second, I'm wondering if you might entertain if Dr. Smith could come forward and explain to the public what this really is, so that we can let folks that might not know how careful we're trying to be with their money.
Yes, sir. And thank you for making that motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Gardner. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Smith?
Thank you. Faithful Ghoul is our validation company, and this is a process that we've been going through for a very long period of time. When we're given a price on a task order, Faithful Ghoul is our independent sole validator of the price that we get. So we go through a process by sending them documents, verifying all the estimates of both quantities and price, sending it back, and this is a quote for their fee for your task order 12. Questions?
No, but I mean, I think the short version for me, and maybe for the public, is that these folks actually look at what the offer is, if you will, and then they confirm whether or not that's in a acceptable range. Is that accurate?
That's correct, and it's in great detail.
Great.
And it's a complete set aside. There's only 1 or 2 people in the district that are in touch with them. They're a sole independent entity that verifies in great detail both quantities and price, and send us a letter back saying that it is within the acceptable range.
All right. Excellent.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you,
you.
Dr. Smith. All right, so we'll go down to section 12. We have nothing under information technology seat management contract. That brings us to section 13. Mr. McInnes, your business, sir.
Just to let the board know that we are moving forward with the policy review that you implemented in your new policies this year, expecting at the next meeting to have at least 3 of the 5 chapters that are up for review here in front of you to get you to authorize public hearings on those. So that's moving along well. I want to thank all of the departments and staff members that have been working to do parts of those reviews, and we're looking forward to getting those here to the board.
All right. Anything else, Mr. McGinnis?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. So now we'll move to section 14. Mr. Chambers, your business, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bryant. As you know, on Thursday we gave information on several topics. I do want to reiterate that this is a busy summer. And this past week, we had the discipline meeting where all the administrators, and especially those over discipline, sat down together, went over new laws, went over processes, made sure that we're all on the same page. So I was very happy, very proud to see what happened in that meeting. I think you would have been proud as well. Also, we have our HR symposium that's going on this week as well. Dr. Hale and his group doing an absolutely amazing job. As you know, in HR, we have to do things the right way, and it's important that everyone is on the same page as we continue to move forward. So again, appreciate Dr. Hale and his leadership and his team. And as you know, we had the job fair. It seems like it was just yesterday, but last week we had our job fair, a very well-attended job fair. Popped over here, and there was a number of folks who were already here in line. So if you want to know some more specifics, we can have Dr. Hale come up in a second and share a little bit of that. And then as well as we have our Leadership Summit this Thursday. And that'll be every administrator in Okaloosa County who'll be taking part in that. Again, if you'd like to come, feel free to do so. We will be looking at sharing the full vision of what the next generation of Okaloosa schools looks like here in our county as we continue to move forward. And there's 6 pillars that we'll really talk about, and that'll be academic excellence, continuous learning. We'll be looking at being student-focused, safer schools, community engagement, and then modern innovation. And of course, we'll go into more depth on each of those areas, but that will set the stage for where we are going in the future, as well as bringing with us the things that have been very important from the past. So very excited about that. And then also Ms. Lightbourne's group will do a good job sharing information on curriculum. Mr. Horton's department will do a great job sharing information on operations. And then Mrs. Lamb and Mrs. Ard will share the student services vision as we continue to go forward as well. So a lot of great things occurring. And again, carrying with us things that are going very well and looking forward to move forward into the future. So appreciate that. And Dr. Hale, do you want to give just a quick summary on the job fair?
Thank you. I was looking over a little bit of the information that we collected a little survey from each of the attendees that came in. We had close to 50 people come in the span of under 4 hours seeking the various jobs that we had advertised. And some of the things that we were asking them was, how did they find out about us? And a significant portion, probably 35 or more of the surveys said through the social media, and they specifically said this school shared it, or this board member shared it, or this person in the community shared it. And so we really do appreciate the follows that we get as far as our social media, and it did have an impact. There was one point where we had a line outside the substitute kiosk that, well, it was excessive. And so poor Rachel was doing the best she could to keep everybody satisfied. We had to send 2 more employees over there to help her. So we don't have the data on in terms of how many we've hired directly as a result of that yet, but I can tell you that we were very, very proud to see long lines at our substitute, our paraprofessionals, our transportation had some visitors as well. And so we were very, very proud to have those folks come. And I can't say enough about the efforts that the HR staff put together, putting this event together, all the people that showed up, from Mr. Chambers to Mr. Bryant to the maintenance guys, all showed up at one point and were perusing the candidates as well. A lot of input and a lot of buy-in, and that's exactly the type of thing that we like to see when we're trying to recruit the next generation of Okaloosa schools and the people that will impact our students moving forward. Very, very proud, and I hope to have some data in the near future about direct hires as a result of this. But for right now, the best that I can do is we had a lot of people here, and they were happy, and a lot of people talking about jobs in Okaloosa County. So it was a good day.
May I ask a question?
Of course, Dr.
Chairman?
White.
So, and I appreciate that information, and this might be something that you might choose to report back on later, but how are we looking with filling our instructional positions, if you will, our teaching positions?
I don't have the exact data in front of me right now, and of course it ebbs and flows each day, and of course there'll be some new jobs that'll be posted tomorrow as a result of some of the appointments here tonight. But I can tell you that there's a very, very high level of activity in HR right now as the principals are moving to fill their allocations. I have not found any. It is not at that period of time yet where the principals are panicking and calling for certain things yet, so I feel like they have a good candidate pool out there. But as we get near to the first day of school, we'll start to heat up a little bit more. But there are still jobs to be had out there. There are people that are still, if they're interested, career changers or other people that are moving to the area. We have a lot of nice things to offer employees, and so our principals are doing a great job looking and finding and interviewing and making decisions right now. So we'll have some better updates in the near future about exact numbers, and as we get closer, I'm sure it'll be a little.
But what I hear you saying is that we're hiring folks, we're hiring teachers, and we're looking at employing folks at this very minute. I mean,
Indeed, we are open for business in HR, hiring employees and great teachers, and we're always looking for people that are passionate about
So we got
students.
openings.
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chambers, real quick, I know one of your pillars was kind of focused around communication. I think I was told today that we might have another form of social media that we're going to be using, if I'm not correct, Instagram. So,
Yes, sir, and to show my Instagram knowledge, I said, well, what type of social media is that? She said, pictures. I said, okay, that sounds great. But yes, it definitely hits another demographic, and always trying to get that information out there. And I learned another form of social media today, so I appreciated that.
all right.
And
Anything?
Sorry, go ahead and finish.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, those topics were quite interesting. Is it possible to receive the PowerPoints to any of those presentations that we can kind of peruse?
Absolutely.
Kind of see
And
the
I
visions
think
and what the...
You're talking about for
graphic
their
as well.
meeting on
Yes,
Thursday.
for the
6 pillars.
leadership, yes, the
Mhm.
6 pillars.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Chambers?
That is it.
All right. Thank you, sir. And now we'll move down to board members' announcements and requests for information. And I'll start with Ms. Gardner tonight.
And Ms. Perry, this might be for you, but I've had a number of teachers asking about the $1,000 teacher bonus. And am I correct in saying that the money will be issued from the state, not from the school district as they're accustomed to?
Yes.
Okay, so that will be a state-issued check.
It's supposed to be a direct check to
Okay.
To the teachers from the state.
Okay. Many of the teachers are accustomed to the bonuses in the past that came from the school district, but I thought I was correct in stating that this is coming from the state.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And one other thing, and Dr. Kelly, you may mention this, but the back-to-school sales tax is normally a 3-day event, but now it is going to be a 10-day event. It starts on, what is that, July 31st through August the 9th, so any parent that's needing to buy school supplies or back-to-school clothes for students, if they want to wait till July the 31st, they will get the sales tax benefit. So that is, what, 19 days away, and I know my dear friends that are teachers are not wanting me to talk about back-to-school, but again, back-to-school sales tax, July 31st.
And I believe that most schools are putting their back-to-school list either on social media or on their websites. So
Yes, sir.
if parents want to look, they can. I know I've been seeing a lot on Facebook here coming down the line. So.
We're always looking to save money, especially with the price increase of everything right now, so this is a way to save on your sales tax.
Thank you, Ms. Garner.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mancher.
And they could put a picture on Instagram if they just want to take a picture of it, so, and we'd have that covered, wouldn't we? So,
Yes, we would.
Yeah, thank you. Couple of things just from the workshop, if individuals didn't get to see that I was excited about, is that we will be providing the SAT free to all juniors next spring. That's a great benefit to those parents and those students. Also, the announcement about the lunch program and breakfast program to all our students. It will be free this next school year. Do want to do a community shout out to the Career Source Okaloosa and Walton. They do a healthcare program every year, and this year Fort Walton Beach Medical Center teamed up with them, and Todd Jackson, the chief operating officer, along with Caroline Stewart, the chief nursing head nursing program. They just did that 3-week program with students, and it's always great. You know, we have a great CTE program, but when our community gets out there and those individuals actually working in those professions work with our students, that adds that unique ability for them to see what it's like, and they're telling them how you get from being a student to where we are doing those jobs. So I appreciate that Career Source Okaloosa Walton and the Fort Walton Beach Medical Center did that for the students in both Okaloosa and Walton County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mancher. Dr. Kelly?
I just have 2 things tonight. I know you'll be relieved. Short list. The first is a very hearty shout out to Coach Thompson at Niceville High School. I don't know if any of you saw on social media, but he did a wonderful thing by reaching out to the city of Niceville and loaned all of his football team to 5 different locations around this community, and they did a variety of tasks. They cleaned up, they painted, they spruced up, and what a wonderful thing for him to do. I just think that was a wonderful example of leadership in action, and what a wonderful mantra for those students now to carry forward. They all had on shirts that on the back said serve, and as you saw them out and about cleaning out shrubbery or painting or whatever, I think that was just a phenomenal advertisement for what wonderful young men and women we have in Okaloosa County, and to a coach like Coach Grant Thompson for setting the path on that, and a great example of leadership in our young people. So I could not wait to get here tonight to give that shout out to them for what a wonderful job they did in that. And secondly and lastly for tonight, you heard me mention in my construction report about getting everything ready for open houses. And so I'd just like to remind our parents to look on their school's website and read those school newsletters, because open house dates are coming up here very quickly. And if you're taking a one last stab at a last minute out of town trip, be sure and take that around open house, because there's such valuable information that's given out at open house, and particularly this year, since we have so many new administrative leaders in the building level. You want to get out there and meet those new administrators, find where your classes are, find your school schedule for your classes, and be well informed about what's needed to make your students the most successful in this year coming up. That's all I had.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. And Dr. White?
Right, and just to follow up on some comments on Thursday at the workshop, I think it's important for the public to know that the free lunch and the free breakfast that Ms. Ivanchek spoke about is provided for by funding from the federal government. Those are not district resources that are being used for that. That is money, I think it may have come from the COVID relief packages, but in any case, it is federal money. That's for a fact, I know. So I just wanted to share that and make sure that our public who may not have seen the video on Thursday would know that.
And to follow up on that also, with Title I, it is important that even though everybody's getting free lunch, it's still important that everybody fills out those forms so we can get that Title I money that's deserved to those schools. So if you're listening and you have a child that's usually on free or reduced lunch, please get those forms filled out. It's important that we get that done. And that will end with my comments too. So we'll go down to section 16 and public comment, the 2-minute version. And I don't believe we have anybody here tonight for the 2-minute version. And so we'll go around the room. Ms. Perry, Dr. Hale, Mr. Butler, Ms. Lightbourne, and Mr. Horton. All right, this meeting's adjourned.